YouTube, what's up? Back again for another daily fishing video here on Andrew Upshaw Fishing. Today's video, we're going to kind of take a 180 and go a different direction. And mainly because I got a message from a viewer and he posed a really good question to me. It was, he watches a lot of my content and he said that, a lot of my stuff has to do with multiple day events and how I approach multiple day events. And he's a weekend fisherman. He fishes like 1 to 2 tournaments, maybe a month. Only gets to fish every once in a while. And I started thinking about it. It's like, I haven't really talked about that very much. So today we're going to dive into that, how to prepare for those type of events. And it is way different than what we do on the tournament trail. So I hope y'all enjoy this one. I think this is going to relate to y'all a lot. And if you haven't yet, hit that sub button. And if you do have a topic that you want me to talk about, we do this daily, you drop it in the comment section below. It makes it super easy. I read all the comments, guys. I'm trying my very best to answer all of your comments. I'm doing a really terrible job. I'm just telling you flat out, I'm doing a bad job at that. Putting the videos out is hard enough, and like I said before, I'm a one-man show, so doing that is somewhat difficult sometimes. So yeah. But yeah, if you can, drop that comment below. I'll read it, and I'll do my best to get a video out that hits home for you. And thank you guys again for watching it, and I hope you enjoy this video. A buddy of mine on Instagram messaged me, and he said, I fish all these individual tournaments. I don't hardly ever get to practice. If I do get to practice for an hour or two, and then I go fish the event. Maybe it's a club tournament, maybe it's a BFL, whatever the case may be. And, that's actually how I cut my teeth. I didn't have a whole lot of time to practice. I wasn't one of those guys that got to stay on the lake like 7 days a week and did all that stuff. So I completely relate to what he's talking about. So today we're going to focus on that. What you need to do to prepare for those events and how you should approach them. The number one thing that I can always recommend, if you're a weekend guy and you're just fishing 1 tournament a week and maybe 1 tournament a month and you only get out there that day, is the first thing is to always keep an open mind. You can truly, you can get too locked into something for no reason. Like maybe it's just because it's your favorite bait, or the last time you're on the lake you got them to bite this particular thing or whatever. We tend to really lock ourselves in way too much, especially when we haven't been there for a while. So the number one thing I can say is keep an open mind. Don't let history completely rule the day. Kind of fish conditions. Do your best fish conditions. So if it's, I'll give you a few scenarios. If it's sunny and calm and it's in the summertime, the fishing's going to be tough. I would probably start out finesse fishing right out the gate. Because it's sunny and calm, it's summertime, it's going to be hotter. That's kind of where my mind starts working and starts going into overdrive. So we'll say, for instance, if it's spring, it's like, we'll just say just early post-spawn, and it's windy and cloudy. I know I can probably take a spinnerbait or some type of moving bait and go to the bank and fish the windiest banks, and I will eventually figure out, are they in the creeks, are they on the main lake, are they on points, are they in channel turns, because I'm going to just hit everything. Literally, I'm not going to just put the trolling motor down and fish the whole creek. What I'm going to probably do is say, I'm going to hit high percentage areas. I'm going to say, okay, there's a point. I'm going to go fish that windy point. Oh, I didn't get any bites on that. That was a perfect windy point. I'm not going to run any more points. I'm going to go run this channel swing. Nope, didn't get any bites. I'm going to go run this flat bank. Oh my gosh, I caught 2. Let me go find some more flat banks. And that is where my head goes when I'm talking individual tournaments. And I'm not just individual tournaments, but one-day events. The other thing that I do, and what I did in the BFLs and weekend series and things like that, is I did a lot of research. And I know we don't always have time to do a lot of research, but the research that I do is more of okay, what's going on the lake today? You can always look back at tournament results, and so-and-so said he caught him on a pink worm on a Carolina rig, and half the time they're lying and half the time they're telling the truth. Well, you can actually kind of decipher that knowledge and those articles and say, okay, this guy said he caught him out deep. okay, so if they're out deep already and these are my conditions, this is what I'm going to probably go try. You don't ever go out there and say, this is what I'm going to go do. This is what I'm going to go try. In one-day events, I typically, especially if I didn't practice, I typically have like 15 to 20 rods on my deck. And I know we're not always in that position. We might only have 5 or 6 rods. But I'm going to have all the rods that I own on my deck with something different tied on every one of them. Because I'm going to go run around and see if I can hit as many different little things as I can. That's one frame of thought, okay? The other frame of thought, and this is one that I've done too, and it's worked well for me, is if I know that there's a flipping bite going on, and I know that the conditions are calling for a flipping bite, I literally will go put 2 flipping sticks on my deck and maybe a spinner bait or a vibrating jig and just go to work on them. And that's all I'll throw. And if I zero, like, whatever. But, you know, I'm going to fish things that I think big fish are going to eat, A, and B, things that I have confidence in. So there's really two trains of thought there. I mean, you can go with a whole lot of rod, whole lot of pattern, a bunch of different things going on approach, or you can go super fine-tuned. I don't know if there's very much in the middle there. Like, I typically go all or nothing, and that's just kind of where I've always been on that. You know, I've had situations where I just went out there and fished history, and typically when I fished history, sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. I can actually think back of one particular event where history did work. I won a BFL on Toledo Bend, I don't know, 3 years ago now. It's been a little while ago. I had 31 pounds or something like that. And I didn't practice, and I hadn't been on the lake in over like a year or two. And quite frankly, like, I rolled up on a spot and I caught on like 2 or 3 places and caught like 5 or 6 big ones, and I was done by like 10 o'clock that morning. And I got really lucky, like super duper lucky, because I hadn't been on the lake. Like, the conditions were way different. The water was high. Like, it wasn't very good. The lake was fishing tough. But that's just one instance where history did work. But I can name like 500 times where history didn't work. So, you know, every once in a while a blind hog finds an acorn, and that's just kind of how I was in that event. I don't recommend doing that as much. I mean, unless you're just that good and you have that many good places and you just are that confident that your good places are going to turn out that well. The very best thing a person can do, though, is look at the conditions. I mean, truly say, okay, we've got a front coming through, we've got all these different changes and variables, and I'm just going to fish what's in front of me. And if you can learn how to do that, and it's hard, but if you can learn how to do that and fine-tune that, you will be a very, very good angler, and you'll get better and better every time you get out there on the water. Because the one thing about it, the harder we push ourselves, the more uncomfortable we are in fishing situations, the better off we are going to be on the water. So that's one thing about me. I put myself in a lot of uncomfortable positions out there. I mean, looking back at Pickwick last week, I took some chances that morning that definitely struck me out hardcore. Made some adjustments late, and like super late, and caught an almost 19-pound bag. So, like, you know, you got to keep an open mind. You got to put yourself in those uncomfortable positions, because if you don't trust your ability and you don't trust yourself, you're never gonna do well in this sport, and you're not ever gonna catch them. Like, I mean, you might catch them from time to time, but the more I put myself out there, the better off I do typically every time. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope it kind of helps you line out your next event and kind of give you an idea of what you should do. Give you 2 frames of thought as far as, do I do a lot of rods, or do I just really hone in on one particular technique? Because it's gonna differ everywhere you go. I mean, if I go to Sam Rayburn and I'm going there over the weekend, and I know the water just came up, and there's going to be some water in the bushes, and I have a sunny day, guess what I'm going to pick up? A flipping stick. That's just what I'm going to do. It's easier to do that. It's better to do that than go offshore and graph and waste 6 hours and not find a single thing. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you've learned from this. And if you have, make sure you like this video, and I hope to see you on the very next one. Thanks, guys.